Alright, so my name is Logan Miller. I was a planter technician this summer, not as exciting as biomedical science, but just as important, if not more, in my opinion. A little brief of what I did was I spent the past 3 months working with the school board of Manatee County on managing their plans rooms, organizing documents, going out to the sites, the schools, and measuring classrooms and verifying the fish report. That'll come up a lot more later on. So what does a plans room technician do? I follow a set of industry standards to maintain an efficient system for proper storage of all documents. So if anyone were to come into the plans room, they could find a document easily and efficiently. People come in, or they will send requests, and I will retrieve the plans, the drawings for the schools, the floor plans, and if those documents as necessary, just to make sure there's order and the plans don't go missing or get damaged or anything like that. The fish report, I verify that, and the floor plans, so fish will come up in the future, but right now it stands for Florida Inventory of Schoolhouses. I'm not sure what other states have, but this basically keeps track of every nook and cranny, every piece of dirt on the floor, every little part of a classroom in a school. After that, I would bring the plans back, update the CAD drawings. I worked in AutoCAD, and then I would communicate with my superiors and their superiors to relay that information to make sure everyone was up to date on what changes needed to be made and what changes have been made. And I've worked with anyone from the district level to the state level. These are the divisions for filing papers and for the retrieval process. There's 16 of them. That's just what the school board uses. There's some places use a lot more, some places use a lot less. I've seen anywhere from 8 divisions all the way up to 96 divisions. So this isn't really the interesting part. The fish report. Other than having a pretty cool name, it is a comprehensive spreadsheet with data on every single school-related building in the district. Anything from a bathroom, to a classroom, to a teacher's office, to the principal's office, to the superintendent's office at the main building in downtown Bradenton. So for a district to receive funding, they must have a fish records within 5% and meet all of the guidelines for the safe, just for a safe classroom, for a safe building. If they're not within that 5%, or they don't meet the guidelines, all of their books get wiped. They get no funding until they go through and measure every single classroom of every single school in the entire county. So that's why I think it's pretty important, because without school, I wouldn't even be here. Approximately every 5 years, the district is audited by the Florida Department of Education. The Inspector General will come in and do their own report on a handful of schools. They'll probably do a few elementary schools, a middle school, a high school, and then an administrative building. And the basic part, they do a basic report, so it concerns the floor cover, whether or not it's concrete or tile or carpet or whatever. They'll do a square footage. They use a laser measuring device that will automatically tell them the square footage, the room number, and the room description, whether or not it's a classroom, office, etc. Oh, fun fact, the average bathroom in a school is 47 square feet. I could not bring the device in because it belongs to the school board. They did not want me taking it. It basically looks like this, and I would just stick it up on the wall, point the laser at that wall, stick it on that wall, point the laser at that wall, and it'll give me the whole square footage that I need. The basic process for every room I went to was to verify the room number, verify the room type, get the floor cover, the square footage, and repeat. I went to, by myself, about 11 schools, so that's about 2,200 classrooms, and then I went to another 6 schools with an assistant, and we got through about at least 1,000 classrooms, so pretty familiar with classroom. After the fish report verification, I would meet with the executive planner, and in this instance, it was Mike Penley over at the construction services building in the Massey building in Bradenton. The numbers are then confirmed and submitted to the Florida Department of Education, and the CAD drawings are updated in AutoCAD, and I did those myself. Unfortunately, I can't show any pictures of the plans or the fish reports for security reasons. but trust me, you're not missing much. This is my office for the 3 months. I would do anything from making labels for the boxes. These are all of the architectural drawings, the pre-built plans, the 50% completion, 90% completion, and the as-builts for every single school and every single building in the county that belongs to the school. The first thing I did there for the first 2 weeks was I would organize papers into these boxes and sort them by division. Under the 16 divisions, they have subdivisions, and there's organizational purposes for all of that. And I actually redesigned their entire closeout document process. So when a school is finished and there's no more documents being made, there is a process for getting there's 3 copies of everything. There's one for the construction services, one for the architects, and then one for the architect's team while they're on site and building the building or doing renovations. This table right here was stacked probably about 3 feet, 4 feet in the air with just papers, because they hadn't had a forensic technician in 18 months, and they said, here you go, and left me to it. By the end of the 3 months, I was always good talking to people, but I built interpersonal skills with industry professionals, so people that do this for a living. They either came from being a teacher or a substitute, all the way up to working in administrative, to working downtown, or moving up to the state level. I also learned the auditing process for the DOE and how very tedious and very comprehensive it is, and how very important it is at the same time. The record keeping process, like I said, with the industry standards, following the 16 divisions. And this is my first real job, working 40 hours a week. So that was also kind of a culture shock, but very important at the same time. This is my bibliography. So this was for the divisions, this is for the internal auditing process for the Department of Education, and for the facility requirements, safety guidelines. And that's it. Are there any questions?
How quickly were you able to grasp learning the entire system and being able to work fluidly?
For the divisions, the 16 divisions? After about 50 or 60 papers, so about 1 stack, it kind of got ingrained into my head. You can tell this goes in concrete, this goes in masonry, etc.
Oh, I was going to ask for what's your major in the concentration, and how did it relate into your...
So this internship, I'm actually a business analytics major, and the interpersonal skills talk a lot about that. I actually spent some time, not with the internship, but talking to some of the finance department, their accounting, all the books they have, and that relates a lot, obviously, to business, etc. But the way I got this internship was through a family friend who works in construction services, and said, we have an open spot, this would be a great time for you to learn something, and